Okay, the recording is started. आणि मुलांनो, I don't remember last time काय घेतलं आपण. But I'm just gonna continue. I'm hoping की last time I think for loop वगैरे काहीतरी केलेलं, right? We will just see one more time. But today I will show debugging part, how to debug. Okay, so फॉर दॅट त्याच्यासाठी एक डिफरंट सॉफ्टवेअर इन्स्टॉल करायला लागेल आहे. ऑलरेडी मी माझ्या मशीनवर हे केलंय, इन्स्टॉल केलंय, पण आय विल शो यू गाईज सो यू कॅन ट्राय इट ऑन युअर मशीन. बाय द वे मुलांनो, की किती जण मुलं कॉम्प्युटरवर प्रोग्राम लिहितायत, दे ट्राय की व्हॉट एव्हर दे लर्न दे ट्राय ॲट देअर होम ऑन कॉम्प्युटर. And you guys say, okay, that day is good. Who else is trying? कारण डिबगिंग पार्ट जो दाखवणार आहे मी, दॅट इज मोर जर तुम्ही प्रोग्राम कॉम्प्युटरवर लिहित असाल तर डिबग करता येतील. पण एनिवे, ते डिबगिंग यू गाईज हॅव टू लर्न, कारण सॉफ्टवेअर डेव्हलपमेंट किंवा प्रोग्रामिंग मध्ये डिबगिंग इज अ मस्ट थिंग. तर एनिवे, ओके, आय सी ओनली 3 kids saying, okay, I did, I am, but no one else. So that means कोणी बाकीच्यांना कॉम्प्युटर अवेलेबल नाहीये की कॉम्प्युटर. ओके, सावंत, तुमच्याकडे कॉम्प्युटर नाही, दॅट्स ओके. आणि बाकी थिंक नो वन एल्स out of 16, 17 kids, right? 16, 17, almost like 12, 11 kids. Okay. Okay. So, okay. No computer available, so there is no way I can tell you guys, right? Anyway, तुम्हाला अजून माझं बोलणं व्यवस्थित ऐकायला येतं, राईट मुलांना? Yes. Okay. So let's keep going. Okay. So I don't remember काय एक्झॅक्टली केलं होतं, पण you guys know how to write the program for this, right? की इनपुट स्टेटमेंट, प्रिंट स्टेटमेंट, दोन्ही स्टेटमेंट आपण बघितलेत, राईट? सो दिस इज व्हॉट इट युजेस दोज. अँड लास्ट टाइम आय थिंक 2 or 3 सेशन बॅक आपण बघितले की डिफरंट डेटा टाइप्स काय असतात, की स्ट्रिंग असते, देन let me put it into presentation mode. Present. I think that's okay. Wow, that takes. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so dictionary and then other data type. I think that's not gonna work. Okay, so numeric data types, integer, float, and complex. Sequence बघितले की list, tuple, and range. Then we looked at the dictionary. Dictionary फक्त सांगितलं. We will use it actually when we do the programs. त्यावेळेला most of the data types we will use it. So that's the reason I'm just showing them again and again so you guys will remember. Okay. Then list मध्ये we showed list कशी display करा, list how you declare list, right? Square brackets मध्ये असेल तर it is a list. Tuples is round brackets and sets is a curly braces. A range is a function, right? So you give a range 0 to 10 and it will generate the integer number. And dictionary मध्ये you have a key value pair. So brand is a key, value is a Ford. Model is a key, value is a Mustang. Year is key, value is 1964. That I think we will skip this part, and I think you guys remember for loop and if and else, right? So do you guys remember this? If did we do if else statement or not? Maitreya, do you remember if we did if else statement? Yes, no, no, we didn't do if then. Okay, then we will do if then. Okay, let's do then if then. The okay, so that's fine. Then I think for loop get lakama than last time. Yes, okay. Then let's start with the for loop. And then I definitely want to show for loop and then debug it. And then we go for the next one, right? So for loop असेल तर let's create one file. You guys remember, right? How you write the program? Maybe for loop मध्ये I'm just going to show you. Let's see. Let's declare a list, okay? List of fruits, right? So how do you declare a list of fruits? List or fruits name, right? List म्हणाल्यावर what do you use? Square bracket, right? And then you're gonna use, okay, let's start with the apple. Then we have banana. Then you guys can give me the fruits name, man. Orange or A-N-G-E. What else you guys like? Mango. Is there any? Okay, grapes, right? Right, apple I wrote first, Mansi. What do you mean? I can't see the screen. I can try maximizing it. Let me try increasing the font size. So that way it is going to be visible. But that's one of the advantage with that IDE. Can you guys now see it? Mansi and Shlok. Oh, you guys can't see it. Oh, you guys can see it since the sharing itself stopped. That's what it is, right? Looks like. Okay, let me see what's wrong with this. Oh, it's sharing. Let me stop sharing and start it again. And that must be some issue on your side. I'm gonna share it again. White screen म्हणजे white screen आहे मुलांना. Can you see? But in that white screen, do you guys see there is an apple and do you guys see it now or no? Okay, you can see it now, right? Okay, good. Okay, so this is the list, right? Okay, good. I think that's the advantage when we go to the debugger, because here I think we use this and this window is not zoom, right? They don't have zoom options here, but or font option there. But I think in other IDE or the other development environments, you will see the font, so you will be able to. But let's write the for loop. For loop, what we are going to write for item in. If I want to display all the fruits one at a time, for loop kasa liyacha? I think you guys learn that one. So I'm just going to write it. So tell me how I should write that for loop. I'm going to do the mistake and then you guys correct me. Is that correct? What I'm writing? Will this print each fruit name on a separate line? Can you guys tell me yes or no? Can you guys still see the screen? Nobody typing. Yes, no. Okay, so is this a correct for loop to print? Okay, so let's run this. Okay, oh, I think we did not save this file yet. So, okay, let's save it. And for loop, right? I'm gonna save this as a for loop and I'm gonna run it. So you can see, right? What I have in this array or a list is this is a list, right? And it prints one fruit name at a time on the command prompt, right? That is what the for loop is, right? Correct? And if now this is one for loop, right? Now I wanted to show you guys the debugging part and see how it really works. The debugging, the for loop and debugging part, right? But I think before debugging the for loop, maybe I should try simpler one. Maybe I think I should not try this one. Maybe let's create another new file and try the smaller something. That way we can help you guys. I think for loop might be the next thing we will take it in our debugging, but let's see. Let me ask you guys what this gonna do. So what this program will do, I have this program here. What this will do, Maitreya, you are saying G equal to 12. Is that program going to do, or what that program output will be? What is the output of this program? You are on the right track, but I think you are rushing too much. What is the output? Okay, right. Maitreya, what you are saying is output will be 12, right? Why? Because what it's going to print Z. And what is the Z? Z is X plus Y. What is the X? Is a 5. And what is the Y? Is a 7. So it's going to do 5 plus 7 and assign it to Z. And it is going to print Z on the screen, right? So then let's confirm that and then, okay, addition, right? So if we run this program, you guys want to see addition of X and plus V, it's printing 12, right? So actually this is what I will want to show you what exactly happened by debugging. So let's learn about the IDE and how you can use that for debugging. Okay. Actually for IDE, I installed PyCharm. So you guys, if you have, you can go and install PyCharm. If you go search on a Google, ज्यांच्याकडे PC आहे त्यांनी, and if you search PyCharm, and I think all of you guys already learned some of the things for Python. So you guys might know already that. Anything is fine, whichever makes sense and whichever is free for you guys. So this is the PyCharm. You can download this version and try the community version, which is free. It's open source, so you can try that one. So I already मी माझ्या मशीनवर already PyCharm install केलाय. तर let's start with PyCharm, right? So Let's create one similar program and I will show you how to debug this program in a Python. Let it load. No. Yeah, it is loading. So it sometimes takes a little longer to load. पण आय थिंक वी आर आता तुम्ही सगळेजण प्रोग्रामिंग शिकताय राईट की प्रोग्रामिंग शिकताना ऑल ऑफ अ सडन सगळेजण जाऊन काय गेमचा प्रोग्राम लिहत नाही किंवा हे लिहत नाही राईट they usually start with a small program, learn how to do the programming, and this is what we are going to do, right? So this is what I created. You guys can see on my screen, right? Let's see once it is visible. So I'm gonna change my font so that way it will be more visible for you guys. Where is I'm trying to find where they have the font, but it looks like I couldn't find them here right away. Okay, otherwise, can you guys see what I have typed in this place or no? Yeah, how about others? Yeah, okay. Okay, I wanted to find out where I can increase the font, but looks like it's little tricky with this version because I just installed this one. Okay. Manage. Let me see if I have editor setting. Okay. Font. Okay. Here is the size is okay. 13 was okay. So 25 will be better. And let's see. Okay. So now this must be visible to you guys, right? So that makes sense, right? Okay. So now I have same program, right? What you guys can see is like, oh, x is equal to 5, y is equal to 8, and z is equal to x plus y, and we are printing z, right? So if I run this program, run this one, it should show the result here. So you can see when I use IDE, you get all these menu items compared to what I was doing the addition program in this place where you have very less number of items and you don't have option, right? So IDE जेव्हा यूज करतो म्हणजे इंटिग्रेटेड डेव्हलपमेंट एन्व्हायरमेंट त्यावेळेला you can use multiple files and you can organize your code. So that's the reason people use IDE to write big programs, right? आपण आता सध्या addition program करतोय, though it has only 4 or 5 lines of code, but just to get good idea that we should start with these things, right? That as you can see, it has a lot of menu. Even I showed you guys how to change the font, right? So that way it can be used the way you want it, right? Actually, I should have shown you guys in appearance, I think even your mode, the background color is a black, right? Usually developers nowadays like the black color on the background and white color for phone. So it is less distraction for their eyes. But usually for you guys, it may not, you may not be able to see it, right? And where did I lose that thing? Appearance, right? Appearance. Presentational distraction, free mode, what is it? Okay. Ah, okay, I changed something. I don't know now how to go back. Where we were. Appearance and exit. Okay, we are back in our old way of doing things. So, right. So let's actually run this program and see you guys how it looks, right? So, okay, let's not do the more of a navigation part. So you guys can see my screen, right? When I run this program, okay. So when I run this program, you can see it generates the output 13, right? And finishes the program execution. So what I'm going to show you guys that how to debug these things, right? I think this ID I just installed, so it's even taking me little while to learn. So when to put a breakpoint, you basically what here is like the way to do it. Like you can say debug, and it will start debugging that program, right? What is actual debugging means you are gonna see what is happening. It's gonna execute one statement at a time. This is what one statement. You are telling computer to do something here, right? So it's gonna execute this statement, then it's gonna execute this statement, then this, then this. So it executes one statement at a time, right? तर डिबगिंग करतो म्हणजे काय करतो तर आपण प्रत्येक स्टेटमेंट एक्झिक्यूट करताना हॉल्ट करून वी कॅन व्हॅलिडेट की अरे काय कुठे आहे अशातलं. सो in this case we are going to put a breakpoint. So as I showed you की breakpoint करण्यासाठी you can use a F5 button to toggle. So you can see here is a breakpoint, toggle breakpoint. So here line breakpoint control F8 is a breakpoint statement, or you can just put a mouse click on here, or wherever you want in this place, control F8. So that will add a breakpoint. And let's see what I mean by breakpoint is when you run the code, instead of it generating output directly like this, you will see it running. So let's say that debug main, right? So when it starts debugging, you can see once it starts debugging, you will see the control comes out here. So now your control is at this place, right? It's highlighted this one. So it shows all the variables in this span and what part it's debugging or what module it is debugging, it will show in this span. So now we are here. So if you say, if you want to go to the next statement, you have multiple options here. You can say step over, means you can go to the next statement, or you can, there are multiple ways to do it. So you can see here F8 is a step over. So you can use your keyboard F8 key, or you can use this mouse button to step over, and you can see it's now, if you look at value X, it will show the value X here. So now it executed its first statement. So it shows, oh, what is the value of X? I know currently आपण just X ला 5 assign करतो, तर त्याच्यामध्ये काय मॅजिक नाहीये सध्या. पण जेव्हा बाकीच्या वेळेला फॉर लूप वगैरे वापरत असाल त्यावेळेला यू विल सी द रिअल मॅजिक, राईट. तर X ची व्हॅल्यू 5 आहे, Y ची व्हॅल्यू काय आहे, तर लेट्स execute that next statement. How you execute? You just click this button or F8. So now you said F8, Y ची value it shows 8. After G ची value, if you want to see the G, you can add a variable here and say a G. Okay, what I want to see the value G. What it says? A name error, name G is not defined. So आतापर्यंत या 2 लाईन एक्झिक्यूट झालेत, राईट. दिस 2 लाईन जी एक्झिक्यूट झाला नाही, म्हणजे 3rd लाईन एक्झिक्यूट झाली नाही, म्हणून कॉम्प्युटर म्हणतो ओ व्हेरिएबल डिक्लेअरच नाहीये, राईट. दॅट्स द रिझन इट्स गिव्हिंग दॅट एरर. कळतंय मुलांना? मानसी, I'm just showing you debugging part here, right? It is not magic, कारण प्रोग्राम तुम्हाला ऑलरेडी कळतोय, राईट. तर जी मध्ये काहीच नाहीये. पण if I execute this with just F8, you will see, oh now G, मगाशी तुम्हाला एरर दाखवला होता, राईट. G is 13 because G is X plus Y, and X and Y are 5 and 8, right? That it's a 16. So now the control is, or computer is gonna execute, it finish executing this statement. It is waiting for us to tell what to do, right? So maybe when we say this, it is gonna execute this statement, and what this statement is gonna do, if you look, आतापर्यंत console मध्ये काहीच print झालेलं नाही, right? You guys can see here on a console, nothing has printed, correct? But if I execute this statement, then you will see it printed 13 on that console, right? And that is what it see, right? So this is what the IDE or debugging in IDE, the integrated development environment मध्ये, okay, how you can debug your code is this way. Is that मुलांना कळलं काय दाखवतं मी? We know how to write the program, कारण तुम्ही बघितलं की इथे प्रोग्राम लिहिला आपण, राईट, X plus Y चा. You just executed that and you see the output into this shell place, right? But मोठे मोठे प्रोग्राम जेव्हा डेव्हलप करतो तेव्हा यू कॅनॉट डिरेक्टली हॅव आउटपुट, कारण खूपशा वेळेला एरर येतो, राईट. एरर कसा डिबग करायचा, तर दॅट्स द रिझन यू यूज IDE, आणि दिस इज द वे यू स्टार्ट डिबगिंग. आता फ्रॉम नाऊ ऑनवर्ड्स, आतापासून आपण मोस्ट ऑफ द प्रोग्राम IDE मध्ये करणार आहोत, राईट. सो दॅट वे आय विल शो यू की हाऊ यू कॅन डिबग ऑर हाऊ यू कॅन लर्न what exactly happening की जेव्हा म्हणतोय X and Y, what exactly the values of this variable. ठीक आहे? Are you guys able to understand आतापर्यंत? तर I think okay. Then now we will take a new program, right? आता I think instead of debugging this, what I can start debugging is, or let's keep this as it is. I will create a new file, right? New Python file, right? And what's the name I'm gonna give to this Python file? कारण आता आपण पहिला एक प्रोग्राम लिहिला होता, राईट. आपण कुठला प्रोग्राम लिहिला होता की हा प्रोग्राम, राईट. fruit name printing. So I will just write fruit name printing, right? So I'm gonna create that file, fruit name printing, and then I'm gonna copy that code. Okay, you guys have, मी तुम्हाला फक्त दाखवण्यासाठी कॉपी करतोय, पण you guys we can write the code if you like, but otherwise we can just copy, right? So you guys can see my screen still. Actually, now I'm gonna take out that zooming part because that zooming makes things little complicated for me. Okay. Right. So now, can you guys still see my screen? Okay. So हा प्रोग्राम आपण लास्ट टाइम रन केला तेव्हा बघितलेला की काय करतो हा प्रोग्राम, की दिस प्रोग्राम prints the fruits one name at a time on a screen, right? So let me run these things. Run. Okay, I think we need to change this to run. Yeah, run this, right? Run fruit name printing, correct? If I run it, what is happening is, you can see, can you guys see on my screen? It prints the names on a line, right? But I want to show and debug these things and show you guys. So if I say debug, it's just basically going to come in and start. Oh, I did not put the breakpoint, right? I did put a breakpoint. So now it is stopped at here, right? So let me see if I put variable fruit name, it is still giving me the errors that fruit names are not defined, right? Because it hasn't yet started debugging. So if I say F8, so you can see it starts with the fruit name, and fruit name has a 5 variable. It is of list type. Let me delete one of them. Wait, remove watch. Okay, so you can see list has this fruit name has 5 variables. Can you guys see on the screen? Can you guys see on my screen? It looks like it is not that visible. No, still visible. I think I can go back and zoom it because it looks like it is very small. So काही मुलांना दिसत नसेल. Let me start zooming a little bit more. Okay, so hopefully this is better, right? Okay, so as it executed this first statement, it is showing you the fruit names array or a list, and it has the 0th element this, first element this, right? So this is the advantage of debugging, where you can actually see what is the content of that particular variable. So let's execute that second statement. We finish executing this first. So it's now in the for loop, right? So you can see the first item, what we are saying. Hello, somebody is unmute. Can you guys mute yourself? Sir, a for loop, right? So now it is more of interesting. A for loop debug करतोय म्हणजे काय करतो की you can see fruit name has all these variables, values, right? But if you look, item मध्ये काय आलं तर first variable, when it executed this, that is shown into item. And if you look at the console, right, it did not printed yet anything. But if I execute this statement, let me execute that particular statement. Then what happens, you can see it printed apple here, right? That's the first. And what happened after that? As soon as it finish executing this statement, this for loop gonna repeat, right? Because it's gonna go to the second element. So what is the value now? It is just at the beginning of this. So if I step over, once it finishes this execution, you guys can see the item value is now banana. So the second element, this element, is pushed into or assigned to the item, right? And now that is what's gonna get printed, right? Okay, let me mute someone. Mute him, okay? Aryan, can you mute yourself? Looks like you are unmute, so I cannot mute you. Anyway, okay. So you guys can see that next item came in this one, right? So now if you go back to console, still it is apple, right? Unless I finish executing this print, it won't print that banana, which is banana value in this item. So if now I can show you, if you execute this print statement, it's printing banana over there, right? Then this same way you can keep looking at it, and let me keep showing you guys. You guys are able to see banana here, right? So if I say F8, I'm now using the keyboard, okay? F8 or step or Y mouse click. You can use either of them. Right? Then you have second item orange, which is here. It's printed. You guys can keep seeing, I think, on if I go on a console, you can keep seeing. Okay. Yeah, I think debugger got disconnected, so it's not printing really the values, though it is getting into this field. Yeah, it wasn't showing anything. So you can see it printed one by one all the items, right? Does this make sense to you guys? As how to debug the for loop? Okay, that's good. So now I think what I'm gonna show you is like you guys learn for loop, right? We saw the for loop and we saw what do you call it? How to debug it. Actually, I wanted to show you guys if else statement, right? So this is a fruit name. We tried one more, and maybe now I want to show you, okay, let's go create something for if else statement, right? I know we have small time. We are going to go lot in this session. So let's try if then file name, if then, if else, right? If else then, right? So I'm creating the file. So let's see. We are going to go a equal to 300, b equal to 150, and we are going to check if a is greater than b. You guys, some of you guys said you guys know, right, how to do if else. So I'm going to print a of a is greater than B. So what is this if statement is going to do? It's going to check the value of A and B and compare it with this logical operator, right? So it's going to see if A is greater than B, then it's going to print this statement. Otherwise, it's not going to print. So that's the reason I wanted to show you guys. And let's run this program and see what is the output, right? So if I'm going to run this, it's going to print what A is greater than B, because what is the value of A is 300 and B is 150. That's the reason it is printing A is greater than B. So how about if I make this as 500, what it is going to do? Can you guys tell me? If I make B as a 500, then is this if statement, is it going to true? Is it a true statement that A is greater than B in this case? No, right? So if it is not true, then it's not going to go execute this statement. It's just going to skip over. Let's see by just running it. Okay, this time we will just run it and then we will debug it. Okay, so if I run it, it's not printing anything here, but the code finish executing, right? How do we gonna know? So that's the reason we are gonna just start debugging and see how and what is really happening. And that is usually the case we try to do, right? So let's try debugging this. So you guys can see now. Didn't I say stop here? Okay. Debug. I think it's still. Right. So, okay. So now it is, you can see here, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to add A. Oops. A is not declared. And even I'm going to add a B. Actually, if I don't add, that's fine too. So if I say step, then it basically assign the values 300 to A, right? B is still not assigned. So now if I execute this, it assign value to B, which is basically, I don't need this variable. So A is 300, B is 500, right? So now when this statement is executed, you can see if this statement is true, then it's going to go here. But now in this case, if it is not, then it's just going to skip over and come out of the program saying that, oh, program execution is done. I think by changing this to 150, you guys will see how it really works. So I've changed this to other value, and maybe now we can debug and see how it works, right? So in this case, now you guys can see A is 300, B is 150. And now when we execute this statement, what's going to happen? It's going to go into this then part, right? You guys can see now it is executing this then part. And then, oh, when it is executing this, it's going to print this value, right? So if you come back in the console, it printed that, right? Does that make sense? I guess other way to look at it is if I write else statement, right? Else. And if I print here, print B is greater than A, right? If I put this statement, then you guys can able to see how it works, right? So if I put 500 here, in one case, now if I debug this, then you can see A is equal to 300, B is equal to 500. So now when I execute this statement, what is the statement gonna be? Is it true or false? Is A is greater than B? No, right? So it's not gonna go execute this part then. It's gonna go into else part. So let's see what really happens here, right? You can see it is now in else part and gonna execute. This highlighted line shows where your cursor is. So now it's gonna print B is greater than A on your console. Right? If I come easily, you can see what it printed. So this is if then if else statement, but with the debugger you can see how the program flows. So usually काय म्हणतात की if else are control statement आणि त्याच्या अगोदर आपण बघितलं की these are the loop. For is a loop statement, right? And then you have like addition, subtraction statement, right? जेव्हा प्रोग्रामिंग करतो तेव्हा युजली आपण खूपशा गोष्टींचं कॉम्बिनेशन म्हणून प्रोग्राम लिहितो. तर वी विल सी की आता या क्लासमध्ये तुम्ही बघितलं की इफ एल्स बघितलं आपण आणि फॉर लूप बघितलं, राईट? तर नेक्स्ट क्लासमध्ये व्हॉट वी विल ट्राय टू डू, we will try to print logic like this. Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys, or let's do, I'm gonna just put a generate sequence. So next class मध्ये you guys must be remembering the last time आपण बघितलं 1 2 3 4 5. This is just one sequence, right? So we will see how to generate this sequence. Right, 1 2 3 4 5. This is one sequence. We'll see how we can generate this. Then you guys can help me generate this sequence too. Right, we will see. Or maybe do you guys, I mean it's already 8:18 and maybe we won't be able to do the loop, or it's already 10 minutes. Let's try this generating this statement, this sequence, and maybe you guys can try generating this sequence at home. Right, so let's try this statement, right? Let's how you can generate the output 1 2 3 4 5, right, every time on a new line. So let's try that. So you guys now know with how the for loop works and how if else loop work, right? Right? Or no, not yet. Or maybe think, I'm just trying to think what is the easier way for you guys to learn and see how, what is, maybe we will try doing something next week to generate this sequence because it's a lot of input for you guys at this time. So कुणाला काही क्वेश्चन आहेत का की फॉर लूप किंवा इफ एल्स मध्ये किंवा डिबगिंग मध्ये? I think we did a couple of things. Are you guys sure you don't have a question? Okay, you need to install, you have to go, okay, you might have missed this part, but you have to go on PyCharm and download PyCharm IDE and install community version of PyCharm. The professional version is a paid version, so you don't want to install the paid version. You want to install the, let me show you, I might have it here. Here is a community version, and you can install this PyCharm community version. Okay, so what is no question. Sure, yes. मुलांनो ज्यांना क्वेश्चन नसतील काय नसेल तर तुम्ही, you guys can leave. Look, if else if is not a big use of the statement, so it's kind of, if you have to do else if else if it's usually a bad kind of a programming sign. So usually people try to avoid else if. Usually people don't like to write it. So it's one way to write, else if, in this case, right? Okay, as you are asking. So here, like, here is the case, right? मुलांनो जो कोणी आहेत, whoever can say, I'm gonna explain else part, else if. But now in this case, supposedly A and B 300, right? So now if we execute this, right? Let's run this and see what happens, right? So if you run this, where A is 300, B is 300, and then what is our output saying? Hey, B is greater than A. Is it right? Is this a right answer? I think Aryan, okay, we go folks earlier. No, right? So this is not the right answer, correct, Anuj? Arjun? Correct. So in that case, then there is a scenario like this, like, oh, if scenario is not correct, else scenario is not correct. So we need something else too. So that's where else if comes in. So, okay, so else, what we are going to say, else if A is greater than B, then, okay, in that case, B is greater. Otherwise, then you need to have else, right? Else, you are going to have print A and B are equal, right? That's the way it's going to go. So in this case, you usually try to, in this case, you usually try to use if, then else if, and else if is also a condition. That's the reason you're putting another else, right? So kind of a nested if statement. So if you run this one, now you can see the correct output. It says A and B are equal. So if I debug this one, let's debug it and make sure we understand this part. All right, so let's debug this and what happens in this case. So you guys can see we are at this place. It comes out, oh, it assigns A and B both 300. So if else statement it tries to execute, and you guys can see it did not find this true state as a true. Then it comes here, it tries to execute this and it says, oh, that's not a true. That's the reason it enters into else part. Right? So that's the one way, right? So if I will answer your question, Parth. Give me a second. So if you do this, right, and then run it, then you guys can. I'm just trying to show you the if else part. In this case, it's actually gonna go execute. You can see A is 500 and B is 300. So in this case, this statement is gonna true. So right away it is gonna print this statement, right? It is printing that and coming out. So idea is, okay, whichever statement is true, it's gonna execute that print part of that statement, right? So now the question what Parth is asking is, hey, what if you have more than three? Yes, you can have more than three. So in this case, their possibility is only three, right? If A can be greater, B can be greater, or they can be equal. But there is a possibility that, oh, there is a possibility something like, oh, A can be negative, or A can be less than zero, B can be less than zero. So you can say those statements like something like, oh, if I say else or else if A is less than zero, that means what are you gonna print? You're gonna print A is negative, right? Negative number. So something like this, you can print it too, correct? So this is what or scenario. Now you can see, I mean, if I put A as -3, so you guys can see what is that really the value of if then else. So let's see what happens in this case, right? So if it comes, is this true? It might be possible, right? A is greater than B. So it is greater than B, right? So now, though, as this condition is satisfied, it is not going to come across this condition. So sometimes, oh, we were expecting that A to be negative number, but if we just try to run this program, we can see, hey, that my output is not coming. It's still printing this. And that's where the debugger is going to help knowing, hey, why this happened. So maybe this check is something we need to put before this. Then it's going to print A is a negative number, right? Does that make sense, guys? I know it is little complicated or little confusing, but now you can see, hey, now it is going to do the way I wanted to do things. So now this is not true, but now else statement, you can see, oh, now this is going to print my A is a negative number, correct? So if you look at the console, it's saying A is a negative number. So you can use else if statement as many times you want, but they get little confusing. So usually development or professional development, they try to avoid else if. Else if can help you, but that you guys can see, right? When Parth asks question, we tried preparing one kind of scenario for it, but we found that that can get us into trouble. So that is usually the reason people usually avoid else if statement, because those get very confusing. I know we wrote this code, so it's easy for us to understand, but for someone else, it gets very difficult. But anyway, you guys, I think, ask question. That's good. So now you know, Shlok, how you can use else if. Right, Shlok? Okay, I think it's already 9 o'clock for you guys. I'll stop recording and you guys can leave.